gasoline was allowed.
Having huge credentials and doing lots of advanced mathematics and not thinking.
We reduced the general population's IQ by some measurable amount because of that lead in the gasoline. That's a crazy story.
Completely. I mean, that's my thesis is that half of the country is lead poisoned, and that's part of the problem why we have the country that we have.
What years was unleaded gas? Leaded gas.
So the public hit.
More than they'd have fucking thought. Let me see. 1996. Oh, I'm fucked. Yeah, that was like right after I graduated high school. Damn it. I'm toast. My brain's cooked.
Well, yeah. I mean, so Gen X and millennials have a very high level of lead poisoning.
Is that why I'm like this?
Maybe. I mean, I think that's why baby boomers are the way they are.
Wait, so what are the symptoms of like lead poisoning?
Sometimes I just jerk, randomly.
Lower IQ, higher aggression, less empathy.
I'm pretty aggressive.
So
I am aggressive. I'm very
Exactly.
territorial.
That literally makes what everyone that voted for Trump.
So lead poisoning just describes roidness, basically. The symptoms are.
No, if you have lead poisoning, you're one of the best lead poisoned people out there.
Thank you very much.
I have lead poisoning. I for sure have high levels of lead in my blood. We all do.
I want to teach
Generationally.
I am a great lead poisoned person. And nothing wrong with it.
I will buy that shirt.
I'm rocking my Iron Maiden shirt right now, so kind of liking it. Yeah.
Is there like a way to detox from it? Like, is there a way to get it out of your system?
No, it's like mercury. It just kind of, it just like goes in your organs and kind of hangs out. Your body can't really. There's no like
There's
function.
some treatment for it, yeah.
Your liver needs to be able to attach do a little chemistry thing to it to make it potable, so you can get out, your urine.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just your liver doesn't have didn't evolve to deal with lead or mercury.
I think there's some sorts of medication.
Like charcoal? Isn't that like...
You can eat giant chunks of charcoal if you want. But you should, have some water. It's kind of...
Nah.
It's going to dry you out a bit, Christina.
Yeah, I mean, we're supposed to top out at, what was it, 10.2 billion by 2060, but the rate of the rate that we are replacing people is slowing down because people are having less children, right? So I don't know how creatively we can get to have an infinite growth of the economy with a population that's starting to slow down in terms of replacement.
UBI and renewable resources and renewable technologies.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if the tech giants were smart, right, they would ask Pappy Trump to pass a law that says that modular nuclear reactors are now the way that these data centers are going to be powered. And if they were even smarter, right, to ingratiate themselves to the towns that they're building these monsters in, is to put a water treatment plant at the tailpipe end of these facilities, so that you're replenishing the water, you're feeding clean water out. So you're not just sucking up the aquifers, right? You're putting it back in. But in a country like this, that takes regulation, right? And that's not going to happen. So, like, we are literally on a path to catastrophe if we have an exponential growth in AI, because the infrastructure itself will not be able to support it. So if Texas shuts down because it got too cold one year, right? What does that tell you? Like that we're going to be okay when these giant data centers are sucking up 6 kilowatts of energy, which is going to happen within less than 10 years?
So, do we have like a war? I'm sorry, maybe I'm like uneducated on this, but do we have like a war with AI with other countries? Like, is there a reason why we're like trying to have so many?
See, what I have is I have a war on love. That's
Oh my god.
that's what I'm gonna.
Royvis, bless your heart, Royvis. You're going.
If you want to have a war on drugs, I got a war on love.
No, like,
Iran
it
wants
because
to
of
kill
China?
us with these stupid, they have like these inexpensive stupid drones and they want to kill us.
They don't want to kill us. They want to kill the United States that's in their backyard.
I won't be mind
Right,
being
but-
killed by like
No, they wanna
weird
kill us.
geometrical shaped horde of drones coming towards me, like some weird fucking tetrahedron fucking collection of weird little drones, and then they just what they do, like they shoot little darts at me. Like what are they gonna?
I'm not going to chase that rabbit. Answer your question, Christina, we are in an economic war with China to get to artificial general intelligence and super intelligence, right? And the major players in the United States are at war with each other. So it's not necessarily national interest other than China and Russia, but Russia hasn't been a major player in this for a while.
Yeah, but a lot of funding comes from the Middle East and Saudi Arabia specifically, and so now we're fucking around the Middle East, and we have this conflict of interest with like
And they're starting to
we're
buy our
destabilizing an area that we depend on to finance our fucking
So
AI
stupid.
insanity, right?
So
really stupid, and we created one. We have one of these leaded presidents.
If the United States was a human being, this dumb, lumbering idiot, like he just like tries to pet, it's like a mice with men. He tries to, pet.
Diabetic, missing toes, open sores, drooling on themselves,
I only drool out
eating
one
Chick-fil-A.
Christina, do you know many folks that voted for Donald Trump?
Do I know any?
Do you know many?
I did. I'm not.
You did?
Good idea. That's a major red flag.
Yeah.
It's a red hat. It's not just a red
The
flag.
literal red flag, right?
Literally.
Every empire has come through the same thing of, turning into that fucking rabid, horrible, self-satisfied, lack of. The irony is when Hansen talks about imagination should be used to go, right, obviously, the world was going to have to change with the advent of AI and robotics. How do the people, how do we eat, how do we survive, how do we have the lives? Yeah, and my point was, I can't go past the fact that it can't happen under capitalism. So I'm not against AI or robotics. It's just that I don't think it can exist in the world that we live in. And capitalism also, in my life, the difference between the rich and the poor since like the 60s is it's just beyond anything. Yeah, it's just massively increased. So, trillionaires, billionaires, God, when
People couldn't afford heat during the winter. Like that level of greed.
And that's the other thing that we're not talking about, right? Between the 70s to now, it used to be that the owner of a company made 7 times more than their lowest paid employee. Now it's 300 to 700 times more. And to answer your question, Austin, it was 77,302,580 people voted for Trump.
77 million?
Yeah.
What
Do you think
percentage
that
of
number would
everything?
change? Do you think that number would
All of
change
it.
now?
Well, I mean, the Republican talking apparatus is turning on Trump, right? Like he's lost Tucker Carlson, he's lost Candace Owen, he's lost one of the blonde ones from Fox News. Like I forget her name, Megyn Kelly. He's losing people that were his sycophants, and they're like Tucker Carlson. Literally, he made an apology video, being like, "My bad, I fucked up. I got this guy. I helped get this guy voted in. It was wrong of me. Blah, blah, I'm sorry." Which is, okay, great, fine, but that doesn't help anything, right? And a lot of the people that voted for him are learning brutally that their vote was wrong, right? You have these dudes that were voting for Trump because he was going to be anti-immigration, and now their wives or husbands got deported. Oh, too bad. So sad.
Yeah, but to be fair, Romero, yeah, there was a reason they did vote for him. There was partly because there wasn't an alternative, and they were looking for change.
There was Kamala.
Well, yeah, you're right. They were looking for change, but we already had a Trump presidency, so he was to some extent a known quantity. In his first round, only was less catastrophic because he had adults around him being like, "No, you can't do that. No, you can't just shoot protesters in the leg. No, you can't do this." Where now he's surrounded himself by a bunch of alcoholic sycophants that just do whatever he says. Right?
I get that. I totally. I'm not defending him.
No, I'm not saying that you are.
From a democracy point of view, though, it shows it's a failure in the political system to have.
Yes.
Choice is the wrong word. I don't know, but he's a consequence of a failure of politics as a way of expressing choice for people to vote.
You're extremely right on that. Yeah, that he does show the one good thing about Trump is that he's shown all the weak spots.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
And if we're
it's
smart,
a failure to communicate.
no one can eat 50 eggs. Right? No one can eat 50 eggs. But you're right, and so when you have a political system that runs on money, corporate money, foreign government money, right? Then you have politicians that are spending most of their time getting re-election money than actually doing things for the population. And I've learned when I was in high school, I thought Bill Clinton was a good president. I was a dyed in the wool Democrat, and I hate the Democratic Party. I don't like the Republican Party either, but I hate the Democratic Party for the one reason that their inaction telegraphs exactly what their values are. They don't care. They're going to get paid anyway. And yeah, things are better under Democratic rule. Like budgets do tend to get, balanced or close to or managed better, and the infrastructure tends to keep running, but they're still getting paid by the same people. They're still getting they're marching orders from the same billionaires and trillionaires, and so and every member of Congress goes in, having 500,000 in their bank account, and comes out millionaires because of insider trading, because of illegal activity that would be illegal in any other profession, right? So how these people are never gonna rein themselves in, right? It's like the police. They're like, oh, we killed somebody. We're gonna look into it ourselves. It's like, well,
Yeah,
okay.
that'll never happen.
It's like, okay, fucking, that's stupid.
Well, self-regulation never works. And going about regulators, you can have good regulation and bad regulation. It's a bit like, the smoking industry. So the percentage of people with lung cancer now compared to the 70s is like at least 50% less. The government the tobacco companies, they were going, oh, smoking doesn't cause lung cancer. Fuck off, of course it does. Yeah, but the government had to step in to regulate. So there's good regulation, and then there is bad regulation. I get that, but just because there's bad regulation doesn't mean there should be no regulation.
Correct.
Isn't bad regulation just no regulation though?
No. Sometimes there are rules.
There's some really bad regulation.
Yeah, that are just antithetical to the point. But you're right that a lot of no regulation also happen.
So what is the resolve in all of this though? Like the people who are in power are just puppets, and there's a small percentage of the puppet masters doing this. So how are we going to actually make a change? Because there isn't going to be any regulation, because these people are being paid off to make sure that they just keep doing what they're being told. So how do we stop this? Because it's been going on for decades, but people are finally waking
Read
up.
the fourth turning. The system breaks is how you fix it. The system breaks. You get the global catastrophe. People learn these hard lessons, and then you have about 30 to 40 years of upward growth and mobility and stability for people. And then the billionaires forget the lessons of the past and start doing their shenanigans again.
And then proliferate.
I think making sure people with horrible character like Trump have no chance of winning. People waking the fuck up, but the right turn woke into a curse word. People need to wake the fuck up.
What I don't understand is why we don't have really not extreme, but intense psychoanalysis of people before they can run for political office. Why are we not having these people tested
Absolutely. That's a great
antisocial personality disorders, making sure these people aren't psychopaths, sociopaths. So
because the Epstein class is never gonna regulate itself.
The only way you can beat a psychopath is if you are a psychopath, okay? That's usually the logic that people put into, oh, well, at least our crazy guy's on our team. And then you end up voting for crazy people. No, this is a huge thing. Their personalities are exaggerated, so are their flaws. And when people look at such adversaries, they're like, hey, look, if a team has a crazy person, our guy should be scarier. And that kind of logic sometimes makes you leads to making poor decisions.
No, I'm saying you cannot run for office unless you pass this test.
Yeah, Christina.
So then they will just become undetectable. So that's not a good path.
I don't know, Christina earlier, I was going to say, not everyone realizes when you vote for president, they don't just have one job title, they have two. They have they have more than one job title. Their main job title is President of the United States of America, but they're also the Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. military, and they're in charge of a nuclear red button that can kill millions of people, literally. But I had an idea, presidents should be able to pass the military fitness to return to duty and physical fitness tests before they're president. I think that'd be sensible.
Yeah, but you'd have to amend the Constitution to do that, which requires 2/3 of both houses of Congress and 3/4 of all the states.
Exactly.
You're probably not getting that through 3/4 of all the states.
I mean, I think it's a good policy. I think it's good. I think, unfortunately, that's not going to filter out psychopaths. And even if you filter out the psychopaths, you may not solve the problem. I mean, many of us have, I hope all of us are familiar with the idea of the banality of people, right? A lot of the time, people are bad, but they're not committable, okay? They're not clinical. They're just bad. And you can't come up with a test for people just being bad. All right?
There's really good psychometric tests in the 21st century, but just being able to be, just being able to
psychopath because you're bad.
I'm not a psychopath.
Well, but also,
A person is not a psychopath just because they're bad. So the idea that you get this test and it assesses whether you're, sure.
Yeah, Batman is a psychopath, right? Batman is a good psychopath.
There probably are no psychopaths enough.
But it's just a bare minimum. Like typical military officers with weapons of mass destruction, they need to pass tests to be able to handle that responsibility.
Right.
You should have that for a president.
Yeah, and anyone just in politics in general. I just feel like there should be levels of understanding how to just be a decent, good person. It's not even being a good or bad person. It's beyond that. You have to have a level of empathy to be able to be a good leader. And you also have to be somebody who's not ridiculously selfish and try to be somebody who's more, I don't know.
All those reasonable people would never work for that job, though. All the people who sound reasonable would never take the job because it's too much.
Good. So then we need people who are like not like that.
Christina and Austin, if this test was going to be there, who would administer the test? Who would
A
decide what
professional
things to go
psychiatrist.
Who would decide which psychiatrist and which psychologist are
We
going
just
to be
just
there?
run the void comp test on people.
Process doesn't include any political decisions, and it's all scientific. Right? We're creating something that doesn't have standards, and you're taking the power of choice away from people. People in a democracy have a right to vote for a psychopath. You want to challenge
Yeah, but they
that?
should know. They should know. They should actually see the stats of this person's
They know
mental
Christina.
health.
They know Christina.
Quiet.
They do.
No, they don't. I think most people are very naive. I think most people are very naive to that stuff. I think people still want to believe that, like Trump, that he really had like their best interest at heart. I think these people were very naive, and now they're seeing that that's obviously the furthest thing from the case.
Christina, do you know what it takes to change the Constitution of the United States?
No one's trying to change the Constitution. I think it's just having checks and balances.
This is not an argument against the substance of her position, Benjamin. It's just not. You're just talking about some procedural stuff. But the problem with Christina's idea is not that it's difficult to implement, it's that it is wrong. Okay, and we should not change the subject of that. Christina's idea is incorrect. It's bad policy, it's immoral. Alright, it will lead to more problems. It will not solve any problems.
I actually agree with Jason. I don't agree with Jason a lot, but on this one I do agree that it creates a separate layer that can then be manipulated to let whoever the power wants.
Or weaponized censorship the next time around. So it's,
We already have weaponized censorship in the United States, right? So but that's the thing. We live in.
But I feel like I'm not saying that this is information that this is like something that, if possible, an unbiased like set of doctors, professionals in this industry with set standards, with set metrics, science backing this up, to be the ones that can be like, this is your result, you cannot move on to the next step. It's just procedural. It's not something that we need to.
But you have to amend the entire American political process to do that.
But
And what's
not an
wrong with
argument
that?
against the substance.
That it's highly
My
unlikely.
family did that. We had a civil
That's
war.
not enough, but that's not an argument against the substance. And Christina, I understand that that is what you want to achieve, and the problem is that's a bad idea, okay? And I've offered.
Well, you can say that's, I think that's a bad idea,
But you
but
have
you
not
don't have
engaged,
to say.
okay? I've offered reasons for that, which you haven't engaged with, okay?
See what Christine wants. She wants to change the way we think and how we feel. And we
And
don't want
the one reason that's a bad idea thing. None of these people that you're trying to exclude from office are clinical in any
You
way.
don't know
None of them
that.
fail.
Well, listen. The whole point of a psychopath is that they can be subclinical and undetectable.
Yes, that's another point. right?
Not true,
Which
actually.
is that you cannot reliably detect a lot of these things anyway. Okay, so you have two problems there, okay? One of them is bad people are not psychopaths. A lot of the time they're just bad. They don't have anything mentally wrong with them. They just are bad.
I think
there's-
you're thinking
there's
that
many, many
psychopaths
examples
equate
of
to
this.
like.
What I mean is they aren't clinical.
Able to support it.
People are not diagnosed.
So
But
it's
I think you're
That's why.
if Texas shuts down because there's only 1 year, right? What does that tell you?
Kill this person,
Like
maybe not, or whatever. But how do you evaluate
We're gonna
that on an adult inventory on something
So
like
I
a Minnesota multi-phase?
I want to help Jason out here by saying that power is one hell of a drug. And the more power you get, the more unfettered power you get, you're most likely going to make decisions that seem less moral, right? We see this with a lot of cops in the United States, right? That shoot first, unload a whole fucking clip into someone's back, and then go, oh, what did they have in their hand, right? Or how government officials do insider trading while barking at corporations for doing the same thing, right? Or corporations themselves being considered legal entities that are alive, but they're immortal. Like, there's all these things. So power is one hell of a drug. And if you want to solve a lot of these problems, you need distributed power. But I feel like we don't really operate that way. And I think that you could have that for a little bit, but then the schemers and the people that want to take advantage of the system, that want power, that are addicted to power, will start doing their shenanigans again. So that's why I say you have to let it break. You have to let it collapse, which it is, right? We're in that time in history where the 80-year cycle repeats.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, historically, societal change has never come from government. It's come from the people and a revolution.
Yeah.
And I believe that humans act best as a community. So, it's like if you have a village and the elders are in there and they're looking after their community. I think that the problem we have in the world that we live in is that we're too detached from actually our leaders. And, the cliche is, power corrupts, absolute power corrupts, absolutely. So, I agree with you.
I think once we're solidly in the age of Aquarius, a lot of these things will then make sense. We will tie up some of these threads, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're in the transitional period astrologically, which I don't think many of you.
I thought you didn't like astrology.
Your voice is crazy. I don't know what you're doing with your phone. You need to pull it out of your butt.
He's in the bathtub. Okay.
You're like rubber ducky. Your little left bath bomb in there.
I just wanted to finish my thought. I think that some people think that antisocial personality disorders are not as common as they are, but they are in fact very common. And in fact, most people who do get into positions of power do have some level of that. So I'm not saying that all people in politics have some level or degree of that disorder, but most of them probably do, because it just requires a certain level of mindset and desire that takes you away from being really, I don't know, associating and feeling. What?
Jason, I said that earlier because no one can fucking hear you.
But that was my last part on that.
I can't help you from here. You need to hire me to work on your audio. So I can probably help you set up some wedges. Run some cables.
But I think we should just all live on a farm and raise our own animals and just live like it was in the 1800s, 1700s. I think that will solve all our problems.
I say we go full Bronze Age.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not even being sarcastic.
Got gladiator fights.
Well, I don't know about that.
Oh, you would love 5.
Oh.
In this old Hollywood bar, and it's quiet and dim.
Did you pick it out?
Yeah.
Good job.
How was I picked lame? Yeah, here.
You're the one who's like, I'm gonna make her choose what we're doing.
I'm making her drive. She has to drive a little farther than me, actually. Get this place. So.
How is it now? How is one person?
It's this noise. You got like some white noise. Like it's fine. I don't mind white noise. It helps me sleep.
Yeah.
You guys ever sleep with like a white noise generator having a background? I have like an air purifier just next to my fucking head.
Oh my god, I do that too.
See? I got the blue one.
Recordings of the beaches of Portugal.
I thought you listened to Roy this fuck all night.
Oh no, that's only when I'm fucking, actually.
How do you? I like how your wife like. Hey, how do you know it's the beaches of Portugal you're listening to?
Because literally the YouTuber shows you a photo and like says, "Hey, this is the beach," and then they show another beach, and it's just beaches of the world. So my favorite one, the beaches of Portugal, for whatever reason.
Sounds different.
It's just a preference. It's like, oh, do you like this? Do you like that? So like, you just have a listen through. And let me know.
Have you done like an A/B comparison, like different beaches and sounds and waves, or?
Yeah. Like a lot of A/B testing and stuff.
Double
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Pretty crazy. Not double blind, single blind, but.
It's too bad Romero left, but I think Romero's onto something. Yeah, we need to lower the stakes. Our overtime concentrates, institutions drift over time, and every so often you have to reset and rebalance the powers in the institutions. We've seen a big drift toward a more and more powerful presidency and more different and ineffectual legislature.
And an aloof, detached population.
What do they have in their head?
Going into their own.
Right. Or how government officials do insider trading. What?
Through something like the militia system. You just have to get everybody out of their house once a quarter, out to train together, rotate them to other states and stuff like that, and make civic duty part of people's lives in a small way. And and like countries that have conscription, say it has very positive.
Guess who's back?
Over and over again. And something like that in this country per se.
Alright, just one little clip, ready?
How old was your dog when...
Jesus, so growing up in Los Angeles in the late 80s, with the highest exposure to leaded gasoline exhaust in U.S. history. As a child born in 77, you were in the bullseye for environmental lead exposure. I don't know. Long-term, subtle, and often invisible impacts to your cognitive, mental, and physical health, even if you did not suffer from overdose. Yeah, I'm like, probably, yeah.
What could I have been without the lead poisoning?
What could I have been without the fluoride and the lead poisoning? What could I have been? Fluoride, I quit it now. Lead binding, I quit it now.
to pick the best of their production models and create my own.
And a lot of parents, and for our children, for our nephews and nieces, our grandchildren, and there are way too many people pushing things before even regulation has been discussed. And this is, it sounds very vague what I'm saying, but I have a lot of thoughts and just trying to find and collect my thoughts. But what I'm seeing is that a lot of people are not, why are people not asking, stop, this needs to stop. We need to talk about regulation first before we can think any further about, how agents or the whole AI evolves, right? So, I mean, they have driven up the capitalism for a reason, right? It made a lot of people corrupt. It made a lot of people become materialistic, greedy, and in the process, I think humanity has just lost the values. And I think, and this is, I think, the core message that I wanted to deliver, but I'm somehow struggling. It's quite late here. I'm in London. We need to go back to our values and ask, what are our values? What does an ideal world look like for us? Not only for us, but for our children. And I think then we will get the balance back, potentially. We don't ask ourselves enough who we are. A lot of people don't know who they are, what they value. We just don't have the capacity anymore. Everyone is about survival. Everything has gotten so expensive. It's just so much stress, even in places that used to be very serene, beach vibes. Life has gotten so expensive for them as well. So it's not the world that we once used to know, and I think that also doesn't give us the capacity to reflect.
Oh, thanks for that, Mango. I mean, I really appreciate that submission. And I think, I mean, it's in the alignment with what I was thinking as well. Because, I mean, I think what I liked about this conversation is that, I mean, no one apparently seems to have automatic opinion on where this is all heading. So, I mean, I went through different cycles, especially related to AI technology. I mean, at first, I was jaded about it. I was like, okay, yeah, I mean, I really don't see what the whole fuss is about. And then I started using the technology, and I became excited. I was like, okay, I'm excited about that. But I mean, I know there's other considerations that I'm not having. I mean, what does this mean? And I started reading, about the philosophy, ethics related to AI, and all of the possible opportunities and negatives. And yeah, I don't have to get either mango, but I mean, I think you probably like me on that, where you're not just thinking about your possible kids, or if you even decide to have kids, but you're thinking about all kids and what the future looks like. So I mean, I started thinking about, what the future of education looks like, and what opportunities presented and what opportunities are going to change. But I think with the most latest book that I'm reading, is what Brian's been speaking to, is the reality. So what I like about this book, I mean, Infinity Machine, is that it's going through the whole process of the early emergence of the technology and the people who started it. So I mean, everybody's familiar with it, and how they were actually one of the first companies that developed the technology. And what this book is doing, which is something I probably wouldn't have found a lot of other books doing. It talks about all of the people who were involved in, the funding and the alteration. So, like you were saying, Brad, about the games. I mean, Demis is actually, a master chess player. And I mean, and in the book, it talks a lot about his exploits in chess and Go. And one of his first startups was a company called Elixir, which was gaming. So there's a close connection between gaming and AI.
technology has been developed along similar patterns where some of the different, when it talks about, the initial investors like, Peter Thiel and Luke Sackles and Bryn and Larry Page and when you read that part, there's a lot of people with, deep political and ideological perspectives on humanity, and they see AGI as a way of actually implementing those ideas or controlling those ideas, right? And unfortunately, needless to say, some of these people are not the best people. I mean, some of them are literally those exploiters, capitalists, billionaires that we think is actually what's ruining um,
Mine is the head of the man, and my insight is keen as the heart. By my head I invoke thee. I am the only begotten child of my father and mother. My father is dead. My mother bore me with labor and pain and fear. By my body I invoke